Hi everyone. So in the last video, I hope you have seen that. If you haven't, go watch it. But to summarize, in the last video, I showed you how showed you the fastn UI and Mac app for that. So there was a CLI and the Mac app that you could double click on. So we have that too. So I have made a little change in that. So let me quickly go back first. So if you do fastn design system now, it launches with a splash screen. So you get a nice loading screen while it is doing the fast and update and fast and serve in the background. And when that finishes, renders the HTTP server content in the native window. So there has been a little change in how the code is organized behind the scenes to make it run on Android. I will get to that later. But the immediate effect that you see on a Mac app or a desktop app in general is that you get a nice splash screen while you wait for the contents to load. So this is the Mac app, nothing new here, functionality wise. I have also set it up so that it builds for Android. So let's look at that. So I can run it in an Android emulator. So it starts the emulator and it takes some time to first it has to compile the Rust crate into a shared object, which it is doing now. Then it has to do that again for some reason because there are two architectures and I am guessing it is probably building uh, both of them, but I am not really sure. Uh, anyway, so this is going to build the Rust source, then it is going to link that using Android NDK, the native development kit or something, and then the Android app. So there is while it is doing that, there is a full-fledged Android app we have, which actually loads the. So this we have a default Tauri activity. So it is a real Android native app which launches a web view, and that web view is powered by our Rust code basically. So this is what it is doing. It has started the Gradle build process. So it will now, it has compiled the shared object and then it will do the Android app build. And then it will transfer the app into the emulator, which it did. And here you have the Android app. It also has that splash screen. And while the splash screen is visible here in the background, this guy is doing all the stuff. So yeah, downloading the design system package, running fast and update, and running fast and stuff so that it can render it. So it is visible. So I will get to the technical stuff later, but yeah, you can browse it. I can click on preview. So it is a little slow to browse, but that is not because of Tauri stuff. I am guessing it is because of our JavaScript performance. So whenever you click on something, it is having to do. Like you see, I clicked on files, but it waited a solid second or two to get to that. So if I click on band, so I can click on that. It does not do anything, but when I go to preview, it has switched to ds.band component. Oh, I accidentally minimized the app, or I think I closed it. Did it crash? It probably did not. I used some gesture on Android that might have closed it on my touchpad. Anyways, so it is working. I have tried it. It is slow. It is slow, but that is probably the JavaScript performance. Yeah, not, still not too slow though, but it is awkward to browse. But this is an emulator, so you might be guessing this could be an emulator thing, which it is not. So I have my phone here. It is very hard to see my phone screen, but I have the same app installed. I will open it. Very hard to launch an app on this phone, but I am typing fastn and it has no error. Right, so I can browse this. It is in dark mode because it has picked up the system thingy. I will if I click on preview, it's not that slow actually. But yes, I clicked on files and it is see it is waiting. And now, so it took a solid 2 or 3 seconds. So it is slow, uh, which we have to fix. But if I go to popular and go back to preview, it is at least as you can see, I click on popular and it is hard to see. Maybe let me see if I can make myself bigger. Yeah. So this is the popular screen. I can go back to file. Did I even click on it? I don't know. To click on that again. Yes. It is slow. Hard to let's go to column. Did I think I clicked on something. Anyway, so the thing that I'm trying to say is that the browsing experience of the design system package is slow, right? I clicked on files earlier and it has navigated to it now. So it is definitely slow. I don't know if it is the design system package that is slow or it is the JavaScript performance of the fastn framework itself. It is probably that, or design system is using a lot of resources and it has to do a lot. I am guessing. Anyway, so these are all speculations. Let's not go into that. The good thing is that app runs on a native Android phone and on the emulator, of course. Uh, Aside technical note, the emulator is running Android 16, which is the latest. It has not even come out yet, if I am right. And my phone is, I think, Android 14. So it works on the last two Android versions, is what I can say. Let me just confirm. Yeah, it is Android 14. Okay. So now about the technical things, I should close this emulator. So one thing is that you have the whole tracing support when you are running the Android app, which is really good. So I can see the fastn core logs. I can so these functions are from fastn core. They are maybe a lot, and it does not render as a tree structure like you get with fastn dash dash trace. The reason is I'm using a different tracing subscriber here. So the default tracing subscriber, which I think is good enough. So yeah, this is a good thing for debugging. Especially it was a good thing for me because there were a lot of bugs that I could not figure out if it was the permission thing with Android or it was my just code that failed. The other thing when you are developing is ADB or Android developers in general, they have this tool called Logcat. So it is present in your Android home directory, platform tools, ADB. So when you run this, it connects to your emulator, and if the app crashes, it gives you a nice stack trace with the Rust symbols in there. So it is really great. The Android emulator is closed, so it is waiting for. But I run this to get the crash, to get to learn what the crashes were. So I don't even remember why the yeah, it was something with I think it was also something with Tokyo, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so these are the two things that you should know about when you are developing. Apart from that, I have created this sales tip. So this that's the this is not important. Let me just increase font size. right? So the first one is not important. The Java Home, Android Home, and NDK Home are required to build the Tauri app for Android. You can, so this function, when you call it, it builds an Android app that you can then copy on your phone, or we can post it to GitHub releases and people can download it, right? This one is for dev. We are using it with the release flag. We need it because fastn play does not. It crashes when you are running it in debug mode. There is also the Mac app bundle function that you can call. I have not verified it if it works for Intel Macs. It probably does not. So yeah, if you this is automatically loaded if you are using Nix, but you will have to manually source this auto.sh script, which we this is the same pattern that we follow for our other WASM style custom packages where we have auto.sh script. So you should feel familiar. Other than that, you have to install all of this. Obviously, so you have to install Android Studio, which will download everything, the SDK, the Java, the NDK, and all of that. So I did follow the Tauri documentation for that. So if you go to prerequisite and go to Android, this is the stuff that you have to follow to install everything. And once you have done that, these environment variables are the default, so you don't have to change it. But if in case it changes for your system, you will have to modify the auto. That's such a script. Don't commit it though, because I think this is a pretty good default. Yeah, I don't think nobody cares about, like, anybody cares about Nick, so I will not even say anything about that because I guess I am the only one using it. So I will not explain any of that. But it does work if you run Xterm up. Everything that you are supposed to do with that, it works. You have to install Android Studio outside of Nix. Yeah, with that said, there is no technical thing that I could make this video longer, but you can go to the PR and see how this is all working. There are a few notes. So the mobile entry point, it has to create a Tokyo runtime before it starts. The reason why is because for the native app, the desktop version, we set the Tauri's async runtime to a default runtime. So in the first and binary, we create a Tokyo runtime that everyone uses, and we want Tauri to use that too. But for mobile, since we have called this line here, we have to set a runtime before we jump to the Tauri stuff. So that is why I have to start a runtime. This is the tracing subscriber, which gives you all the nice logs. So I had to hard code this stuff because I don't know how do you get the environment variable from here to inside the Android emulator, even if that is true. Like, I have not even tried that. So it could be that just setting the slug value would have worked, but I did not even went in that direction. So this is what it is. I hope it is fine. And it is for mobile only. So it is not something that you, if you are developing faster on desktop, you will probably not see it day to day. Right? Anyway, so the desktop entry point, I will go to that, but inner it calls Tauri run with the default package. The default package is the design system, the global constant. We will change it, of course, to something better. Then it calls Tauri builder, and we run this setup function in the background. It does what it is supposed to do. It decides a directory, it runs the backend server in that directory. This function, what it does is it downloads stuff. So this is the old code. I have moved it to be inside Arduino, right? And it launches the server in a Tokyo frame. This was a nightmare to do, by the way, because for some reason, not for some reason. So, anyways, not let's not go into that rant. But yeah, you get the port and then we navigate the web view to that port. So this is how it is working. The desktop entry point is in here, right? It has not changed. So you have this fastn invoice CLI command, which checks if you have just run fastn. So if you just invoke fastn, it will launch the UI. So it is calling the same Tauri run function. Or if you give it a plug, like I gave it, so if you do fastn space design system, it will take that design system and pass it to run. It will take that slug and it will spawn a thread that does first an update. First it downloads, then updates it, and then runs the HTTP server. So the same thing, but with desktop, you have to manually invoke it. You don't have to if you directly click on the Mac app. So that uh, does that might have broken, that might have gotten. Uh, Sorry, I cannot confirm that, but that might still be working. I'll test it afterwards, but I will before merging the P. I will test the Mac build as well. Anyways, so yeah, I don't think I have anything to say. The Android app is working, so let's just